want to begin by saying thank you for everyone's patience on waiting for part 3 to come out. Originally, we had gone with the Back to the Future approach in that we shot parts 2 and 3 simultaneously. However, as it happens in filmmaking, sometimes reshoots just happen. But to get everyone up to speed, in part 1 we talked about the Nike replica game jersey. These jerseys feature screen print graphics, a loose fit, and will be the most budget-friendly option. In part 2, we talked about the Nike limited jersey. These jerseys provide better quality numbers and letters, and will have a more contoured fit. Now we get to part 3, the Nike Elite jersey. Specifically, we're going to talk about the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey. These were worn by most teams from 2012 to 2016, although some teams continue to wear this uniform as late as 2022. These will be the highest tier jerseys at the retail level and will be the closest to what the players wear on the field. We'll cover overall impressions, quality, and anything else that might be important. And just a heads up guys, if you want an even more obsessive next level deep dive, our NFL Eras Tour complements this buyer's guide series very well. And with all that out of the way, let's get started. Prior to 2001, the NFL was a free-for-all. Any team could sign with any company it wanted. There was no uniformity, and you saw jerseys with the starter logo, the Puma logo, and everything in between. However, in 2001, the league unified under one single brand when Reebok became the exclusive outfitter for the entire league. Following the expiration of the Reebok deal after the 2011 season, Nike won the outfitting rights and has been the league's official outfitter since. Their first jersey would be the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey, pulled right from the college ranks. Let's take a closer look. For the purpose of this video, we'll primarily be looking at the New England Patriots jersey. However, both the Steelers and Bears jerseys will be referenced later on, as well as some additional examples. So the Elite 51/Speed Machine jersey was primarily used by the league from 2012 to 2016. However, after most of the league upgraded to the Vapor Untouchable chassis, a couple teams continued to wear the Elite 51 through 2022. This template was pulled directly from college football, and as you guys will see, it's got a ton of panels. At the very top, we've got this tagging inside the neckline. It's got the size, country of origin, and some other details. The collar is going to differ by team. Most of the league switched to this flywire collar that you see on the Chicago Bears jersey. And then you've got some teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers that did adopt the materials for the new collar, but did not have the flywire. The Patriots opted to stick with the woven collars they had from the Reebok days. Some teams like the Green Bay Packers also maintain that design. They actually rejected Nike's innovations altogether and still to this day wear the old school mesh uniforms. In the early days, the NFL shield was not chrome or textured, but they did update this for the newer Elite jerseys. Not every team will have a logo at the chest, but the Patriots do. Patches typically do not come with the jerseys, but I bought this one from the Hall of Fame store. For teams that have TV numbers, those will either be located on the shoulder or the sleeve. Now the sleeve graphic is where things get interesting. Regardless of team, the Nike swoosh will always be a sewn-on patch. Other graphics will completely depend on how the actual team wears them. For the Patriots, the Flying Elvis is going to be a sewn-on patch. For the Bears, both the sleeve stripes and the GSH initials will be screen printed. Now you're probably thinking it's ridiculous that a $200 to $300 jersey is going to have screen printed details. But if you look at a team issued or a game worn jersey, those same details will also be screen printed. And one more variation we've got are the woven sleeves. Not many teams have this design, but it is really cool in that it's not screen printed, so you can wash this all you want and the colors won't fade or peel off. And just to drive the point home, here we've got a game-worn Steelers jersey with the exact same woven sleeve stripes. Quick announcement guys, we're working hard to create quality content for all the major sports leagues and really aspire to be the de facto resource for all things related to sports jerseys. Consider supporting our channel by running the triple option, subscribing, liking, and commenting on today's video. For additional information on this uniform template, check out part 1 of the Nike NFL Eras Tour. Alright, back to the Patriots jersey. Throughout the entire body, we're going to have a combination of mesh and non-mesh fabrics. The mesh fabric will typically be in the armpit and lower body areas, while the non-mesh fabric will be in the upper body and the side panels. The non-mesh parts of the jersey will be made of a Cordura fabric, and as you guys can see, it's water repellent. The mesh areas will absorb all the water, while the non-mesh area stays dry. For the team issue jersey, you can see that the proportions will be slightly different, but it's going to be the same overall cut. A few teams will also have mesh in part of the sleeves, but the Patriots are more the exception than the norm. You can see for both the Steelers and the Bears, there will not be any mesh in the sleeve area. The jock tab will be pretty standard for all teams, and this one's a size 40/medium. Color jerseys will typically be 91% nylon, 9% spandex. And white jerseys for this style was primarily polyester with spandex. On the back, you'll have the player's name sewn across the nameplate. Typically for game-worn and team-issue jerseys, they cut the nameplate to the exact length of the letters. But for retail jerseys, they usually keep it generic and use the same length nameplate for everything. And sometimes you got names like Roethlisberger that are so long, it coincidentally takes up the entire length of the nameplate. Good lord, this thing is really yellowing. Below the name, we've got the back numbers, and this will be a larger size compared to the front numbers. Most casual fans probably don't pay a lot of attention. It doesn't seem to be an issue with every team, but the Bears actually have entirely different fonts for the front and the back number. They don't just enlarge the front numbers. No, it's actually a completely different font. Again, a lot of fans probably won't even notice, but thought it'd be helpful to point out. Let's quickly talk about the updated Elite 51/Speed Machine jerseys. So in 2017, when most of the league upgraded to the Vapor Untouchable uniform, a couple teams had decided to stick with the Elite 51 jersey. The Colts were one of those teams, and the Cleveland Browns stuck with the old template for this particular design. These are just two examples. Teams like the Baltimore Ravens would also wear the Elite 51 through the 2022 season. For the most part, the blend of mesh and non-mesh fabrics will be just like the older jerseys. One difference is that new chrome textured NFL shield. Some teams continue to have the fly wire on the collar, and other teams ended up removing the fly wire altogether. One of the differences though is going to be these new shortened sleeves. They made them shorter and added elastic to the sleeve band to give it more of an on-field look. And it's the same deal with this Browns jersey. Earlier we were talking about how some of the graphics are going to be completely dependent on the team. For the Browns, this stripe is actually all sublimated. So just like the woven stripes, this will not wash off or fade. One downside of these newer jerseys is the body doesn't feel quite as thick as the older Elite jerseys, and thus the quality doesn't feel quite as nice. One big difference for the back of the jersey is this extra cut towards the bottom. And here we've got the same thing on the Colts jersey. For the team issue jersey, that extra cut was always a prominent feature for the back. But for one reason or another, they omitted it for the retail authentic jersey. And here it is for the Steelers and the Patriots jerseys. Notice there was not that extra cut at the bottom. Overall, the difference isn't massive, but it is worth pointing out. In terms of sizing, for the size 40/medium in the original design, they'll measure 21.5 inches pit to pit, and right around 30 inches from top to bottom. And for the newer cut, the size 40 will measure roughly 21 inches pit to pit, and roughly 28.5 inches from top to bottom. Everyone's going to have different takes on sizing. For NFL jerseys, I typically try to get my own shirt size. These modern NFL jerseys are meant to have more of a fitted look, and I don't think these are going to look great if you wear it super baggy. Some people might get a size up to account for a hoodie or another base layer, but again, even when layering, I typically get things in my own size. Best thing to do though is to visit a store, try these on, and see what size works best for you. And there we go, guys. It's a quick look at the Elite 51/Speed Machine authentic jersey. I would love to hear your thoughts. For me, I definitely love the feel of the Elite 51. I think the shortened sleeves with the elastic cuff really give it that on-field look. While the first generation of Elite jerseys definitely had a boxier cut, the quality of the materials far surpasses what Nike has now. But that'll do it for this episode, guys. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications for all the latest updates. Alright, we'll see you in the next one.